What's up guys, Elfis here, and today we're going to be doing another Han Hero review. Now first of all, I just want to apologize to the people who've already watched the Arachna gameplay video. I know it's the same gameplay, sorry guys, but I figured I got the gameplay, I'll do a review of it. So, you know, new information, different, you know, same gameplay, new information though. So, now that's out of the way, how's this going to work? I'm going to review the hero, and by that I mean I'm going to talk about his skills, or her skills I guess, and I'm going to say how strong or weak I think they are. And then I'm going to talk about her role and how she fills the role and how well or poorly she fills the role. And then I'm going to talk about how well or poorly that role fits into the current metagame. Okay? So let's jump into this. We'll talk about her skills. Web shot, first skill, fantastic skill. I'm going to mouse over them. You guys can read the skills. I'll just talk about how I feel about them. The skill's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Even though I don't think it stacks, I was confused about that in the gameplay. I don't think it does after more, you know, deliberation thinking about it. I don't think it stacks. It's a fantastic ability. One downside of it is it doesn't proc attack modifiers. If you like set it to auto cast and try to use it, it doesn't proc auto attack modifiers. So lifesteal, shield breaker, frostburn, whatever attack modifier you decide to get, it doesn't proc it. That is kind of a serious downside, but it doesn't necessarily make the skill weak by any means. The skill's still very strong. Another downside is that it's obviously a single target skill, so you know you lack some AoE in that sense. Okay, but the skill's fantastic. I don't think I'd change anything about it. That it's actually a fantastic skill in all senses of the way. Moving on, Hardened Carapace, fantastic skill as well. The magic armor is okay, you know, cool. At max level, 32 magic armor is actually an enormous difference. People don't realize it, but that's actually an enormous difference. That's probably depending on how much magic armor you have already, because it's logarithmic in that sense. You guys can look up what that means, or you can ask me in the comments and I'll explain it. But it means like you know, so it doesn't go up like exponentially or linearly. It goes up in the sense that you know, your mitigation goes up logarithmically with the amount of magic armor you have. So for each, like, you get diminished returns. Every time you get more magic armor, it gives you less mitigation for each magic armor more you have, if that makes sense. Feel free to ask me. Sorry, that was my phone. Apologize about that. Feel free to ask me about that below if you have any comments or questions about that. Other than that, the skill's fantastic, and the dispels debuffs thing is actually enormous. Absolutely enormous. People don't realize it. It's fantastic. It dispels slows. It dispels, you know, a number of things. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's a fantastic thing. It's a fantastic ability to have anything that dispels debuffs. Absolutely fantastic. Keep in mind you can't cast it, you know, if you're silenced, things like that. So you can't dispel a silence really, because you wouldn't be able to use it. But other than that, you guys know what I'm talking about. Moving on, Precision. Precision is a fantastic ability. It's interesting. It's similar to Andromeda's ability, where she gives her allies more base damage. The only difference being that Precision only works on ranged units. It does not work on all allied units, whereas Andromeda's, you know, AoE thing does. It works on all allied units. And I think the difference, by the way, I haven't played Andromeda in a very long time, but I believe Andromeda gets less base damage increase because it works on both melee and ranged. So, like, you know, max level for Arachna 28. I would imagine Andromeda's is less than 28, although I'm not 100% sure. But other than that, fantastic ability. It's amazing. You know, helps you last hit, and on top of that, 28% damage is a huge increase in damage. 28%. If you have 300 damage, do you realize how much damage that gives you? 60. Let's see, 66, 70. Yeah, it'll give you 72 more damage. Okay. Or sorry, no, not 72. My mistake. 74. 74 more damage. I can't do math. Ignore me. 74 more damage if you have 300 damage. Okay, which is usually about end game damage for a carry. Once you have your Savage Mace and, you know, built up items, 72 more damage on top of that now, just for free. That's more than a whole. I think that's more than a whole nother Savage Mace. How much is Savage Mace? No, sorry. So it's about another whole Savage Mace. Okay, but fantastic ability. Moving on to your ultimate. I don't think I'd change a single thing about this ability. It's absolutely fantastic. Not to mention the True Strike is enormous, by the way, people. I didn't talk about that, but people underestimate the True Strike an enormous amount. You can hit up hills, you can hit through, you know, Nighthound Cloud, sorry. Anything that causes miss no longer works on Arachna. True Strike is what the Savage Mace gives you, which is why people buy it to counter Wingbow, because Wingbow gives you lots of evasion. But enough about that. So fantastic ability, fantastic True Strike, all that. I love it. Moving on, the Spider Sting, an incredibly amazing ability, by the way, not just for the amount of damage it does and the fact that it gives you movement speed, slow, and vision, but really the fact that it slows attack speed as well. So it makes it very strong against carries at all periods throughout the game. So it's a fantastic ability, fantastic. The one weakness is that you can kill it. I think it's 3 attacks, if I'm not mistaken. 3 attacks, maybe 4, but I believe it's 3. 3 attacks, and it's dead. So if the team has good coordination and they focus up quickly, they could kill it, after it gets only like 1 attack off or something like that. Even, maybe 2, but it's, they can kill it really quick if they, if they pay attention and, they're together, of course. But other than that, fantastic ability, okay? So let's talk about the role that Arachna fills. Okay, I want to talk about this in detail because Arachna is an interesting hero, based on the way they recommend items, based on the way her abilities work, based on the way the hero's made. It's clear to a lot of people that she should be played as a carry. Okay, and the real kicker is this thing that gives you enormous amounts of damage, and the fact that this also has a perma slow thing going on. I call it perma slows. It just means like you can constantly slow someone indefinitely, basically. But mostly this that makes her carry. It's a fantastic thing to have. It makes her, do more damage than almost any other carry in the game, probably. I mean, maybe Madman that has all of his, whatever that thing's called, stacks on you might do more damage than that. But, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I'm saying, like, all items the same. She probably does more damage than any other carry in the game, or at the very least, she's really high up there at the damage, okay? So that's why people want her to play as a carry. Now, I want to talk about how well she fits into that role, and talk about why I think that she should be played a bit more as a ganker instead. She is fantastic as a ganker, okay? Her Q and her R make her one of the best, gankers in the game, okay? They're not fantastic team fighting abilities. She doesn't have any AoE whatsoever, but she has enormous single target damage. Between the spider, which is 1125 at max level, and this, which is 40% movement speed slow, plus the spider slow on top of that, by the way, minus 80%, minus 40%. Technically, by the way, those don't stack. It's not like minus 120%. It's not like he's going backwards or something like that. It's not even like he's at 0. It's like, whichever one you do first, like it'll do 80%, and then it'll do 40% of whatever's left, just so people are aware. It's not like you get, an infinite amount of movement speed slow, so just keep that in mind. But he has she has an enormous amount of single target damage, just absolutely enormous. Probably the best in the game. I would say, at the very least, if not the best in the game, it's certainly up there. But that's what makes her such a fantastic ganker. Now, as a carry, she's lacking a lot. She doesn't have any AoE to farm, okay? She doesn't have an escape by any means at all. None of her abilities even give her mobility. They give her slows, so technically she could use those defensively to an extent. You could attack the enemy and use that, to slow the enemy down as they're chasing you. But she doesn't have a built-in slow, okay? And it makes things complicated for her as a carry. So she's missing a couple key components that carries have. Now, she does have this. It dispels debuffs. That kind of helps her get away if she needs to. But, I mean, she doesn't really have a built-in escape, okay? Like a key escape, like an invisibility, or like Kronos has a leap, or, these things that certain, Bushwhack has that sidestep. These heroes, they have certain, abilities built in that help them survive. She doesn't really have that. And so she's lacking really hard in that category as a carry, and she's lacking really hard in the farm category. She cannot farm as fast as any other carry. All the other carries will out-farm her. All the other hard carries anyways. Every other one of them has some type of, AoE damage that they could use if they wanted to, or something like that. Or they're a hero that you build a Rune Cleaver and it works really well on. You can't build a Rune Cleaver on Arachna. It makes no sense. I mean, I guess you could, but it makes no sense. So she's really lacking in the farm category, okay? Now, where this hero gets gold is from killing heroes, which is why I say she should be played as a ganker. Now, you can be a ganker that transitions to a hard carry late game, okay? So I'm not saying you have to stay as a ganker the whole game, and sacrifice your farm and all that for the team. But what I'm saying is you should go solo mid or a solo lane anyways to get experience. So you can go solo bot, I guess, if the enemy's got a suicide or something. I wouldn't recommend 1v2, but 1v1s work okay. Work fantastic. You can zone the enemy hero out fantastically. She's one of the best 1v1 heroes in the game because of the fact that she has enormous single target damage, and web shot allows her to just do whatever the hell she wants, pretty much. So I think you should play her as a ganker early on and transition into a hard carry as the game goes later and later. Okay, if you start out playing as a farming carry, like a madman would play or something like that, or a silhouette would play, you really are just going to fail. You're going to fail hard against the enemy carries. You need to stay up on gold, and the way to do that as Arachna is to kill. And to kill, you need to roam around. You do not need to be farming. You need to play as a ganker. So she's lacking in that, the farm sense, but she makes up for it in her ganking ability. So I think you should play her as a ganker that transitions into a carry. And when you play her like that role, she fills fantastically. Late game, she's missing AoE damage, but that's fine because she makes up for it with her immense amount of single target damage. So I think it works very well if you play her as a ganker transitioned into a carry, and she fills that role fantastically. And I would definitely pick her for that role any day of the week. Okay, now. How does that role fill in to the current metagame? Sorry, it actually fills really well, believe it or not. People love gankers and they love hard carries, as I've talked about in the videos where I've done semi-carries, the Zephyr video. People really like that. They like gankers and they like hard carries, and a hero that can fill both roles, one early on and then transitions to a hard carry late, I think actually works really well. I think the reason people don't pick her up is because when it comes down to it, the hero just doesn't have anything to farm, and if people stick together, the spider's easily killed, so the ultimate can be negated fairly easy, things like that. She just really doesn't have any AoE, even once you get to the team fight late game, and I don't necessarily think that makes the hero weak. I think that makes the hero maybe not quite as good as other hard carries, or quite as good as other gankers in the fact that you can negate, the single target, you can negate the damage, quite a large amount of damage actually, just by killing the spider. And if you're quick, 3 attacks, boom, 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 boom. You've got 3 members around you, everybody hit it once, it's done, really quick. So I think that's the reason people don't pick her up. I don't necessarily think the hero's weak, but her ultimate certainly is lacking in the sense that you can easily, just destroy it. It's really not as strong as it could be because it's easily destroyed. If it took more auto attacks to destroy it, or maybe it was indestructible, it would be a much, much stronger hero, and I think people would pick up the hero a lot more. But the fact that you can just basically cancel her ultimate if people pay attention, and in high top-tier games, people are paying attention, and they have good team coordination and all that, and, as soon as the spider goes down, you'll see, 3 auto attacks hit it within a second, and it's that kind of stuff that allow, teams to counter this hero, basically. So I think that's the reason people don't pick her up. When it comes to hard carry, she's certainly lacking in the sense compared to other hard carries. I think as a ganker, she's top tier, though. Top tier, up there with Pebbles, up there with, whoever you want, Deadwood, Devour, whatever your heroes you want to call, top tier gankers. Gauntlet, maybe. She's up there with them, okay? I would definitely say she is. So pick her up. She's a fantastic hero. I'm sure you guys will love her. My overall rating would be a 4.5 out of 5, simply because of the reason that, she's a really strong ganker, but when it comes to carrying, she lacks a little bit, and her ultimate isn't really that strong. So I'd give her a 4.5 out of 5. I could see people giving her a 4 out of 5. Any less than that, I think you're getting into the gray area, because she really is a good hero. It's just that, the ultimate's easily counterable, is what it comes down to, Anything lower than a 3.5 would be low ball, I think, for her. But I'll give the hero a 4.5 out of 5. I would also say a 4 out of 5 is just, though, as well. So whichever you guys prefer. I thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments, concerns, requests, I know there have been requests. I'm getting to them. I just am dreading playing those heroes, Rhapsody and whoever the other ones were. I can't remember, but I'm just dreading them. I will get to them though, so don't think I'm forgetting. I haven't gotten around to playing a game with them, so I have no gameplay footage of them. But I will do it eventually, so don't worry about that, guys. If you have any comments, concerns, requests, whatever, suggestions, put it down below. Hit me up in game, inbox me, whatever you guys want to do. And I thank you guys for watching. And once again, GG, well played, guys. Elfis out.